to win the conference, but they've got to win tonight against the red-hot Baylor Bears, who come in on an 8-game winning streak. It's a big one tonight, and it tips off at 6 o'clock, and we will have the action for you right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Pre-game coverage getting underway at 5:30, and the tip-off at 6. So that's why we're off the air at 5:30 today, because we have got some K-State women's basketball to bring you here this evening. So that's what we got going on. We're with you until 5:30 here this afternoon, and we are glad that you are along for the ride today. We got lots to get to from the weekend that was. The Royals still perfect in Cactus League play. They are in action presently against the Sacramento Athletics, tied at 0 in the bottom of the fourth. I don't know if you were here, Brendan, the day where I made the decision, the editorial decision on behalf of 580 Sports Talk, that the Athletics would be referred to this year and for the subsequent years in which they are playing in Sacramento as the Sacramento Athletics. They don't get to pretend that they're a team without a home. You have a home, and the home is Sacramento. You left Oakland to play in Sacramento. You are the Sacramento Athletics.
I'd be so bitter if I was a fan in Sacramento and Major League Baseball brings a team here effectively against that fan base's will already. Like, if you're a Sacramento, you're probably an A's or a Giants fan already. Like, wow, this is awesome. We finally have a team that's not the Kings, that's here, and at least for the time being, they're ours, and it's an intimate ballpark, and we're going to love it. And Major League Baseball pretty much says, no, actually, you guys are carpetbaggers, and you don't even get to keep it anyway.
Yes, the team is barnstorming.
Yeah, I would be so upset if I was a Sacramentan and I heard baseball say that. Everyone should call them the Sacramento A's, because they are. The naming convention in baseball is that everybody is the team nickname of the place where they play.
Yes.
Except for the Angels. They just kind of lie. They are in Anaheim. So if you're the A's, we are the Athletics. Yes. Yeah. And where do we play? Sacramento. Maybe it's other Athletics. How do we know? I'm going to specify.
We are too. That is the editorial position of 580 Sports Talk, is that they are the Sacramento A's or Sacramento Athletics. The A's and Royals tied at 0 through 4 innings of Cactus League play today. Royals 3-0 in the Cactus League. We'll talk about some early returns, including a ball that Jac Caglianone sent to the dang moon yesterday afternoon in Cactus League play. We'll get to why that is so exciting for last year's Royals first-round draft pick. There's also some college hoops from the weekend to get to. Is KU back in form, or did they just have a hot shooting game against a sorry team? Which one is it?
The latter.
Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit later on after KU blitzed Oklahoma State at Allen Fieldhouse on Saturday. K-State now has lost 3 in a row. No Coleman Hawkins. Was it simply not having their best and most versatile player, or was it just a bad shooting night? Can K-State feasibly beat somebody without Coleman Hawkins if they have to? And make no mistake, they pretty much have to. In fact, these final 4 games for them may just be about making sure you're in tune for the Big 12 tournament, because if they don't win that at this point, they are not going dancing. They lose to Arizona State yesterday afternoon. The gang that couldn't shoot straight, just 33% from the field and a 12-point loss and a season low in total points. We will get to that one in a little bit as well. So some college hoops. Also, KU is back in action tonight. Make sure that you get a nap in if you were going to watch KU basketball tonight. Maybe put on a pot of coffee around 9:30. Get some caffeine in you. 10 p.m. Central Time tip from Boulder. KU at Colorado. 10 p.m. start time for a weekday Big 12 basketball game. Thank you so much, ESPN. We really appreciate it.
I mean, Big Monday supersedes time zones. I mean, it's just, if it's Big Monday, it's going to be every 2 hours, and that's when the games are on. So we get a 9 o'clock local time tip-off.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock now. That's late, too, to start a sporting event.
That is late. That is very late. I have some gripes with some KU members of the KU fan base recently. KU is becoming USC, and I don't mean Southern California. I mean spoiled children, and we'll get to that as the day goes on. But I have some beef, and like, look, if you want to stay up, that's fine. I'm sorry you have a little baby bedtime. That's too bad. I'm so sorry to hear that for you. But I've got some bones to pick. We're gonna have February Festivus here in a little bit.
See, my baby has a little baby bedtime.
Yeah, and he can go to sleep, and if he wakes up, he can come and hang out with you while the game is on. Just like my kid.
God, I
she
hope
wakes
not.
up, she can come and watch some hoop.
He's his wake ups lately have been like if the game goes into like a fifth overtime. That's when that's when our boy has been. We had to lower the crib this week already.
Wow,
we had to go low crib. He started sitting up.
Wow,
yeah.
So he just walk out over it.
Yeah, he's getting to the point where he can be able to pull himself up over it. So you got to lower it so that if he does pull himself up and accidentally tumble over the edge while you're not looking, it's not as far a fall.
Right.
Yeah. So that we were not ready for that particular milestone. This has been 580 Dad Talk. Anyhow, college hoops get to on the program today. Get Texas football as well. Aaron Schatz of ESPN.com put out a list of 32 bold moves for all 32 NFL teams. And I think his spiciest take was the move that he has the Chiefs making, cutting Travis Kelce. Would the Chiefs even dare to consider the possibility of parting company with arguably the greatest tight end in NFL history with a roster move? We'll talk about it because it's the kind of thing a previous dynasty would have done. And that dynasty stayed afloat for 20 years in part because it was willing to do things like that. But can you even separate the humanity of a move like that from the business sense that it might come with it? So we'll get to that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll also talk plenty of football with our guest today, Matt Verderame from SportsIllustrated.com. He is an NFL writer for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. Boy, I got that all kinds of wrong. But Matt is always right on time when he joins us. Bottom of the 3 o'clock hour here on Mondays on 580 Sports Talk. We'll get Matt's thoughts. It's Scouting Combine week.
Yeah, it is.
Another big week on the football calendar. I wonder if he's going to Indy. We'll have to ask him.
I imagine so.
I think he'll be out.
Anybody who's anybody goes to the Combine, which is why I'm here.
For the why we're here for the Underwear Olympics. We'll get Matt's thoughts on Combine week and all kinds of other NFL news when he joins us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. Plus all the other things you've come to know and expect from a Monday edition of our program. 580 Sports Talk headlines will wrap up the show before, again, we are out at 5:30 today. We'll have a round of What Is Wrong With You, final week of February. So one more weekly champion to crown on a short week. We'll crown a February champion at the end of this week. We'll also have our good, bad, and ugly from the weekend that was as well. And your interaction with the program, we would love to hear from you throughout the show today. Shoot us a text. The text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with the live chat on our YouTube stream. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. If you're watching the YouTube stream live, there is a chat feature on the web browser and the mobile app. You are signed on to YouTube to watch a YouTube video. You can interact with your username, your handle, and interact with us, interact with your fellow listeners as we go along on this Monday afternoon edition of the show. Look forward to hearing from all of you and having you all in on the show today. Let's get into it. The weekend that was, the Kansas City Royals, I mentioned, they are unbeaten in Cactus League play. They're through 4.5 complete in surprise this afternoon with the A's and the Royals still scoreless. By all accounts, Cole Reagans held good velocity in his first spring training outing. 2 scoreless, 2 hits allowed, 1 walk, pair of strikeouts. All kinds of points for you if you know the first names of the next 2 pitchers to have pitched for the Royals this afternoon. It's Luinder Avila and Steven Zobak, who have followed Reagans with scoreless work. 2 innings for Avila and 1 inning for Zobak. Royals have just 2 hits through 4 innings, a single by Kevin Biggio, who's playing first base and leading off today, and a double by Freddie Fermin, who is doing the catching.
Yeah, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Royals baseball is back, all right.
Yeah, that feels like September Royals baseball.
Yep.
And not in the fun way, not in a real pleasant way. Royals are 3-0 in the spring. They were victorious yesterday over the White Sox. That also feels like 2024 as
Sure does.
well. They won that game 4-3 and won it in part thanks to an 8th inning rally. And part of that rally was, in fact, kicking off that rally, Jac Caglianone, the first-round pick out of the University of Florida last year for the Royals, hitting his first homer of the spring, 435 feet, and an exit velocity of 115.4 miles per hour. To give you some context, if that had occurred in a regular season game, it would be the third hardest hit batted ball by a Royal in the StatCast era. So you're really going back to like the early to mid 2010s with that.
Yeah, 2015, right?
I think that's right. Since they started collecting that data, only Jorge Soler and Kendrys Morales have hit a ball harder in that time frame in the last 10 years of Royals baseball than Jac Caglianone hit yesterday in the Cactus League.
Juiced balls back?
Yeah, they got the Titleist in for spring training. Give the fans a show. No, in all seriousness, we talk about stats in spring training in the Cactus League by way of saying, ignore this. This doesn't matter. This really isn't important unless you're a player fighting for a roster spot. And then, like, if you're, like Daniel Lynch and you're fighting for that 5th starter's role, maybe it does mean something if you put up an ERA of 2.5 in the spring relative to a 5.5 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're Kevin Biggio trying to make the club and you'd rather hit 300 than 150. Like, those numbers matter. But for your big guns, like Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't have a hit yet in the spring. Bum wash? No, we're not doing that. That's not the purpose of spring training. So those numbers, like the statistics, ignore them. These are practice games. These are practice stats. It's fun practice. It's nice to watch. Makes it feel like summer's closer. Certainly makes it feel like spring. But the numbers themselves don't mean a whole lot. But an exit velocity number does mean something, because that means you can do that in a game. This is live game speed. You're facing game speed pitching in a game setting, and you hit a pitch 115.4 miles an hour and 435 feet. That's the kind of thing that get people excited. That's the kind of thing that gets people, and it's happened repeatedly, texting the show, messaging the show on YouTube. Hey, any chance this Caglianone kid makes the team? For a Royals team that is starved for offense, the thought of somebody with, it's not quite top of the scale 80 grade power, but it's damn close.
That's good.
It's
good
like
stuff.
It's like 70 grade power. The thought of that in the Royals lineup, following a guy like Bobby Witt Jr., is so tantalizing that it's going to be hard to wait on Jack if he's going to do things like that in game settings in spring.
Well, and the reason you draft guys who had long, illustrious college careers is the idea that they can come through the minors really quickly, right? And you're not waiting on Caglianone the way you waited on some guys who were high school prospects. Bobby Witt Jr., even for a high school prospect, came through the system pretty quickly, and no slower than average, certainly. And a lot of guys do come in slower than average. That's what average means. But you get a guy like Caglianone who spent 3 years at Florida, and you expect that it's only going to take a year or two for him to be ready to go for the majors. I think I understand the excitement. I get it. The Royals just, in recent history anyway, haven't had dudes like that who just destroy the ball, save for, Salvi sort of does and has. 1 year of Jorge Soler. Yeah, that's kind of all you got in that regard. So the idea of a guy who can smash the ball like that is so tantalizing for this team in particular. That being said, and I don't know who the pitcher was who served that one up that he mashed the other day, but spring training pitching, that's I don't think that one moment should change anyone's viewpoint. And I'm sure the Royals and the way they've handled their business in the last couple of years feel that exact same way. That being said, while you're not looking at the counting stats as anything that's meaningful right now, ways you get to those counting stats and process like things, those are important, especially when you're evaluating a young player, and being able to hit the cover off the ball. That's a process thing that the Royals are certainly taking note of, or at least, that's another data point in the file they've already been keeping on Caglianone and have been keeping since he was a draft prospect. So I'm excited for the day he comes up. I just assume the year will end in a 6 when he finally does.
So like, again, the exit velocities aren't the be-all, end-all. You know, has great exit velocities relative to the league? Michael Garcia. It doesn't matter for him because too often that exit velocity is being measured as the ball is going straight into the ground. Eric Hosmer hit the ball really hard a lot, but didn't elevate it enough to consistently be like a 25, 35 home run guy that his exit velocities would have suggested. So, again, it's not the only thing, but that you can get to that in a game facing live pitching, that is promising. It's an ability you have to have if you want to get to the big leagues in the first place. So if there's anybody who looked at Caglianone's numbers in the minors last year, which they were underwhelming given his stock coming out of college, he didn't light the minor leagues on fire last year, but he was also a little fatigued coming off of a full season in the SEC, so it was understandable. I think you can rest assured, not just from what he's done, but also what you're hearing from the people around him in spring training. Like, this kid's the goods. Like, yeah. he certainly has the ability to get there.
Do you know what Jac is short for?
I assumed Jackson or Jaquarius, maybe. Is it Jaquarius?
Jac, also often a nickname for John.
Uh-huh.
The spelling JAC is important here. It's his initials.
Huh.
Jeffrey Allen Caglianone.
How about that?
Jac. Yeah. Fun fact. I just found that on his baseball reference page.
How about that?
Yeah, I never put any amount of stock one bit in the short season spring training, minor league ball at, where was he? High A, Quad Cities last year. Long season at Florida. Went deep into the postseason at Florida.
Yeah. Throw it out.
I mean, all that is to me is you're learning how to be a professional baseball. You're learning what is the operation of getting to the ballpark, and what does, your nutrition plan look like, meeting with coaches, and, what does batting what does batting practice look like at the start of a game? That's what that is. 690 OPS, 302 on base means nothing. Means absolutely nothing to me. Just learn how to be an adult and a baseball player, which is a very strange adult environment, and go from there. Yeah. So I'm not worried about that one bit.
Yeah. I think he's going to have a huge year at AA, and I think that he'll be in a position in 2026 to break camp with the club like Bobby Witt Jr. did after he tore up AAA as a prospect as well. By
the way, real quick, Arizona Fall League, too, he hit the ball a lot harder than he did during that first stretch anyway. So
he'd had about a month off, and then he got into the Fall League and put up some good numbers there.
No worries.
Yeah. Royals have taken a 1-0 lead on Sacramento in the fifth inning.
Biggio!
Kevin Biggio with a dong. MJ Melendez is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Doesn't matter.
Like the 2024 Royals.
Doesn't matter. It's spring training. Well, we're going to take a quick break here at 580 Sports Talk. We got a lot of college basketball to get to later on in the show. We're going to talk some Chiefs and some NFL with Matt Verderame at the bottom of this hour. We got the good, bad, the ugly coming up in just a little bit. But right now, wouldn't you know it, I ended up with a 4-pack of tickets to see the K-State women's game tonight against Baylor. So if you don't have any plans for tonight and you can make it out to Bramlage Coliseum, I want to give you these tickets. I want you to go and see the home finale for the K-State women, and they take on Baylor tonight, 6 o'clock tip. If you can get to the game tonight at 6 o'clock, 785-272-9429 is the number, 785-272-9429. I'll take caller number 2. If you can get to Bramlage tonight, a 4-pack of tickets for the K-State women. Massive game with Big 12 title implications against Baylor. 785-272-9429. Caller number 2 gets them. We're back after this on 580 Sports Talk. Caller number 1. You are caller number 1. Caller number 2. You are our winner. You win the tickets. All right. You can make it to the game tonight? Awesome. All right. I need your name. Time for the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was. I will start with my good. There was baseball on television, and there is something about having a baseball game on in the background, even if you're not paying super close attention to it, which is kind of the thing about spring training games. You don't have to pay super close attention to it. You're rewarded sometimes if you do, but you just have it on and hear the sounds of the game in the background and the patter of the broadcasters, and it's just familiar, and it makes it feel warm. It makes it feel like spring. That combined with the improving weather and the warmer weather around here, it was just a really nice little Sunday. I got a bunch done around the house. My wife and I did, had fun with our son, and got to watch a few innings of baseball on Sunday. And, that always puts a pep in my step. So that was my good from the weekend.
Easy good for me. For the first time in 21 years, Washburn Ichabod's men's basketball outright champions of the MIAA. Took out a good Rogers State team on Saturday. 20 wins on the year entering this weekend and beat them by 30. Ended the game on a 35-10 run. Awesome win for Washburn. It was cool to see the guys cut down the nets and get to celebrate that. Talked to all four seniors during postgame. All of them were super fired up about it. Andrew Orr, Michael Keegan, Jacob Hanna, Jake Shodegg. So really cool for all those guys. First share of the title in 13 years, first outright title in 21 years. Oh, and by the way, the Washburn women won again as well. They've won 5 of their last 6. They are playing their best basketball of the year, just 2 weeks out, now 1 week out from the MIAA tournament. So really fun weekend at Lee Arena. Congrats to Brett Ballard and the Ichabod men for another conference title.
Rogers State's a 20-win team, and
they're good. They're
Washburn
really good.
Walked a mud hole in them the final 13-odd minutes of that game on Saturday.
Yep, it was 55-50 with 13:07 to go, and it ended a 30-point game.
Jeez.
Utterly incredible end of the contest.
Spencer Dupuis, you're good from the weekend.
Yeah, it's not too many weekends where my favorite team from back home, the Washington Capitals, they get national television 2 days in a row. Coming off the Four Nations break, they were on ES or ABC on Saturday, which I have a gripe about that. They decided to play 2 games back to back, and ESPN decided to schedule the games exactly like 2.5 hours apart from each other. So didn't get to see the beginning of Caps Penguins on national TV. Unless, you download the app, but whatever. The Capitals then proceeded to play on TNT yesterday at home, where Ovechkin scored a hat trick. He is now 12 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's record.
That's the kind of thing it feels like it would get more national attention, like an unbreakable record to fall in the NHL. If
you asked 100 Americans to name one hockey player, 60 of them would say, I can't. But the 40 who could, 38 of them would say Wayne Gretzky. So the others would say Sidney Crosby because they're probably from the the mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
It is incredible that this is getting zero attention.
Yeah.
None. You're paying attention.
Hey, no, during the freaking breaks, during the intermissions on Saturday, they were talking about Sidney Crosby.
Go figure that. No, that's something that people need to be
that's wild.
Aware of. Yeah, it's sort of like Hank Aaron's record going down. Only we don't have any evidence that Alex Ovechkin is juiced to the gills while in pursuit. There's no.
I think he's got that Russian gas.
There's no.
There's no way.
It's not a morality play like Barry Bonds chasing down Hank Aaron.
Although some people would say, how does this man do it? He is nearly 40, and he has. Do you know he's the first player in NHL history to score 200 plus goals in 3 separate decades?
I do now.
Yeah, I know that now. He looks 80. He might be almost 40. He looks 80.
The best part about it is when he's at home, he has glass side seats for his kid.
Yeah, it's neat.
So he goes over and he taps the glass.
Neat.
So my bad. If I'm going to stay up late to watch a sporting event now that I have a small child, better be worth my time. And when it's not my time, it makes me worth my time. It makes me real grumpy. The Nuggets laid an egg against the Lakers on Saturday night on ABC, and I didn't enjoy that even one little bbit.
My bad is that the Big 12 does not belong on Sundays. K-State versus Arizona State, and it's hard to describe. Like you told a non-sports or non-basketball fan, well, who cares what day of the week they play on? No. If you're going to play basketball, college basketball on a Sunday, it should be the Big 10 or a mid-major conference, like the Atlantic 10. That belongs on Sunday. Big 12 on Sunday, ick, gross. There's something unsettling about it. And K-State does it again next week.
Give me a quick bad, Spencer.
Yeah, it's an ugly combined. So in our new place, we have the air system. The HVAC is run through Nest. So you're supposed to be able to download on your phone or whatever.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if it's because this place has had this for some years and multiple people have put on their phone, but for some reason the system will not connect to or like to an account on a phone now.
Oh no.
So yeah, it
With
sucks.
the rapidly changing climate, you're going to want to take control of your HVAC as fast as possible. My ugly, Tony Padilla ruining the end of a classic college basketball game on Saturday night.
Game of the year.
The worst official in America, Tony Padilla, calling a foul on Arizona's Trey Townsend that gift wrapped BYU a road upset over Arizona on Saturday night. Unbelievable college basketball game. Everything you'd want. And then Padilla, who is a war criminal of an official, the furthest ref from the play, calls an insane foul against Trey Townsend. Not even remotely a foul. And he calls it trailing the play by 30 feet because that's who Tony Padilla is. Absolutely the worst official in America. Ruined a great game. So did the morons in the Arizona student section who chanted "Bleep the Mormons" at BYU after they won.
Yeah, it's so gross. Real quick, not an ugly, but a scary IU Indy, formerly known as IUPUI. Their bus caught fire on the way home from their game this weekend, and they lost everything but their lives.
Jeez.
All uniforms, all shoes, all bags, all workout equipment for pregame stretches, a projector, clipboards, all of it gone in a bus fire.
Terrible.
There is a donation link you can find on social media if you'd like to help them rebuild part of their program. Very scary stuff. Thankfully, nobody injured, though.
Matt Verderame joins us next to talk football on 580 Sports Talk.
Against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just one dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
WIBW, Topeka. Football.
Matt! Okay, now go out and catch a ball for a change, all right?
Matt? You just don't understand.
Joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline, as he does every Monday at this time, is the great Matt Verderame. Covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. Also has his own subscriber-only Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show, and appears on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network. You can also catch him here on 580 Sports Talk every Monday. Matt, you heading to Indianapolis for the Combine?
I'm currently driving to Indianapolis. I'm about an hour and a half outside.
Oh, man, the drive down I-65, a classic.
It's nothing but windmills and a whole lot of religious billboards.
That's how I remember it from my college days in Western Indiana. That's how I remember it. Matt, what is the best part of the Combine weekend aside from St. Elmo's?
Yeah, I'm going there tonight. Yeah, made a reservation. I wasn't taking any chance. No, you know what? The best part is really just kind of getting a feel for what's about to happen. Not that you know every little thing that's about to happen, because obviously teams are close to the best with a lot of their real important information. But you start, especially from agents, you start to get a sense of, okay, this guy might not be going back to his current team. This guy might be looking at $20 million a year. This guy might have a bidding war for him. This guy might have a little bit of a smaller market. Like, you start to hear things and get an idea of where it's all going to land. Now, things, markets can heat up, markets can dry up. But I think that's the best part, is you start to get a real sense of how the offseason might start to shape up.
Matt, as you go to the Combine, let's talk a little bit about the Combine. We already know Shedeur Sanders isn't going to throw at the Combine. That's not unique. The top 3 quarterbacks in last year's draft didn't throw at last year's Combine, so it's becoming more and more common. But for you yourself, as you look at the top quarterback prospects entering this draft, as it stands right now, who's your favorite? Who would you take if you were the GM and you needed a quarterback? Who'd be your QB1 on your board?
Cam Ward. And I think that's, look, I don't want to make it out like I think Cam Ward is a generational prospect. I think Cam Ward is the best of this quarterback class. I think he's a good prospect. I think in a lot of quarterback classes, he'd probably be the second or third guy off the board. Not to say that that's bad. I mean, obviously, I think it depends on system and all the rest of it. Where does he go? Like, if he goes to Tennessee, Brian Callahan's the head coach there. He was the OC with Burrow, obviously, when Burrow broke in. Like, he's got experience in getting a guy up to speed. Of course, Burrow has Chase and Higgins. The Titans of Ridley, they don't have anybody like Jamar Chase. But I think Ward, look, Miami is talented, but not crazy talented. I mean, their best weapon for him probably was the tight end and Christian Royal, who was good last year. He was a good player. Elijah Royal. Who was very good at the Senior Bowl. Impressive. I think he's a borderline first round pick. Probably going to be a day 2 pick. But I just think Ward has the better arms than Shedeur Sanders. You hear a lot of good things about him from an intangible standpoint, but also athletically, I think he fits the mold. So, in this draft, those are probably the only 2 guys going in the first round. Maybe Jackson Darkett's in there, maybe back half at very end of the first round. But those 2 guys, Sanders and Ward, they're going to go in the first, and I would imagine Ward especially is going to go very early.
It sounds like Travis Hunter is leaning toward cornerback as his position in the NFL. Do you think that's the right way to go? What position do you like the Heisman Trophy winner at best as a professional?
Yeah, I think corner in all likelihood is the answer here. I also think that as you go, it's going to color that a little bit. If you have a coach that's more traditional, it's just look, you're just playing one side of the ball and that's it. You have a coach that's a little more outside the box. It's to say, look, you did this at college, but we'll give it a shot at pro level. We're not going to play you 60 snaps on either side of the ball, but maybe you're a corner for 50 snaps and you're a receiver for 20 snaps, 25 snaps. If you're going to go one way or the other, I think corner makes the most sense. First of all, if you're him, it's a more premium position. Not to say receivers not, but if you can be an elite corner, there's fewer elite corners than there are elite receivers. Now, the flip side of that is receivers get paid more. So you can also be looking at it that way for Travis Hunter and go, well, hell, if I'm a great receiver, I'll get $35 million a year. If I'm a great corner, I'll get $24 million a year. But I think in the end, if he's forced to kind of be one or the other, I do think it's probably with the corner.
Matt Verderame is our guest. He covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. He's also the host of the Matt Verderame Show on Patreon and That Football Show at the KC Sports Network, and joins us here on 580 Sports Talk every Monday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. One more thought on the Colorado guys, and we already mentioned Shedeur Sanders, but he's going to be drafted pretty early in the first round. I think we all sort of accept that. You just mentioned it a moment ago, Matt. But how does the NFL view him as a prospect? Is he going to go in the first round because teams really believe this is a true franchise guy, or is he going to go in the first round because of the quarterback tax?
I think it's a combination. The quarterback tax is real. Okay, there's no question about that. Some teams will look at the fact that he's Deion Sanders' son as a bad thing. Some will view that as a good thing. Yeah, he grew up, with a guy who understands the business, who gets what it is to be a high-profile player in the NFL. I think most people, at least to this point, I haven't heard any character stuff about him where I think most people are pretty good about him character-wise. We're going to get a good look at that this weekend where, I can tell anybody listening right now, there are two things these teams care about this week: the medicals and the interviews. Those things matter way more than some guy's 40 time. So you'll get a better feel for all that kind of stuff this week. I would say, look, I think the big question for him is his arm. He doesn't have a particularly strong arm. How much of an issue is that? There have been plenty of guys who've been drafted early in the draft who don't have massive arms. Not everybody is Mahomes or Allen or Herbert. Tua does not have a big arm. Top 5 pick. Burrow doesn't have a massive arm. He's the one pick in the draft. How much, some teams are going to be more scared off by that than others. And I think that's going to be the big thing here. Like, he's a very good athlete, grew up around the game, smart kid, succeeded in multiple situations in college, Jackson State, Colorado. Like, that arm, is that a big red flag for teams? Or do they say, hey, look, as long as he can make the throws, he doesn't have to have a howitzer for an arm, we're good? That's the question, I think, for a lot of teams.
In terms of quarterbacks who are actively playing in the NFL right now, it sounds like the potential for a Matt Stafford trade is very, very real, especially after the reporting this weekend that the Rams have told him, yeah, you can go seek out a trade. What do you think the Rams could feasibly get back for Matt Stafford? I have a buddy who's a Rams fan who says anything less than a first-round pick is a waste, but I don't know that you're getting that for an older quarterback who is still great when he's on, but when he's not, it's not so pretty. What do you think the average return would be for Matt Stafford at this juncture?
I think it's either back half of the first or first half of the second, depending on the game. I don't think you're getting multiple firsts. That's not happening. I don't think you're getting a top 10 pick. Like, if the Raiders traded for Stafford, let's just say, let's use them. I don't think you're getting – I think the Raiders draft like 6. Like, you're not getting that pick. You would get their second round pick. And maybe there's even a world where it's like, okay, you get the Raiders second and you swap fourth or something. I still am dubious that they're going to trade him. Like, they allowed him to go talk to other teams. I wonder if some of that is to find out like exactly how much he can get paid by other teams. McVay loves that. Loves him. Like, I really have a hard time with it. Plus, too, if you're McVay and you trade Stafford, it's over. Now, the argument would be if you're the Rams. Like, let's play this out for a second. The argument is, okay, and you're going to start hearing this more and more, if Stafford becomes legitimately, like, involved in trade conversation. If they trade Stafford, they're going to go after Kirk Cousins. Because McVay and Cousins go way back, all the way to Washington. Okay? And the other guy is going to be Darnold with the Rams because the Shanahan tree is ultra tight. And so O'Connell worked under McVay. McVay, of course, under Shanahan years ago. O'Connell is going to tell McVay, hey, especially if they're not looking to bring him back, of course, hey, here's what we think of this guy, strength, reaches, all that stuff. Like, they're going to know how Darnold can play in their system because he watched Minnesota. So if the Rams trade Stafford, the play is going to be get the highest pick you can, and then go get Cousins or Darnold as a bridge, and then move forward. But I guarantee you, they trade Stafford, one of those two guys in the Rams.
Okay, so to that point, the follow-up I had to that, Matt, was I keep seeing, and as a Packers fan, I still to this day see stuff about Aaron Rodgers in my sphere all the time. And I keep seeing on social media, oh my gosh, what better fit for Aaron Rodgers than to go to the Rams? He lives in Southern California already. That's an offense that's going to be, nice and easy for him. I think that's a horrible fit, Matt. The dude hates play action. The Rams use play action as much as anybody in the league. He hates going under center. The Rams go under center as much as anyone in the league. I don't understand why I keep seeing that other than people don't actually pay attention to what Sean McVay runs.
Yeah, I agree totally. It's a bad schematic fit. That's not. I'd be shocked if that happened. I mean, and look, I've been shocked before. It's the NFL. I would be shocked. That is not a good schematic fit. And for the people who say, well, you just talked about the tree, LaFleur is part of that. LaFleur changed his entire offense to fit Aaron Rodgers. Their entire offense changed to fit Aaron Rodgers. So LaFleur basically ran Rodgers' offense to some extent. Now, look, as time went on, it kind of was more of a hybrid. They incorporated some things. But, the Packers don't run an offense that looks like the Rams or the Niners. And they sure as hell didn't run an offense like that when Rodgers was there. That's not the way they played. There wasn't nearly as much motion, a lot of plays out of the gun. Now it's much more LaFleur's offense for love. I agree. And the other part of it, too, if you're the Rams, Darnold's in his mid-20s. Now, Cousins is much older. Cousins, I think, is a straight-up one-year bridge play. Rodgers is 42 years old. If you're the Rams, you'd rather have Darnold. You'd rather have Darnold because if you're McVay, you're looking at Darnold going, I can make that happen again. I can have him throw 35 touchdown passes, 4,000 yards in my offense. I know I can do it. I just watched them do it in my offense. So I don't think they will go after Darnold heavily if they trade Stafford. And by the way, I think that's part of the reason they're playing hardball at Stafford. It's because they know it. They know it. And Darnold's sitting there like, well, yeah, if I'm not going back to Minnesota, hell yeah, I'll play for the Rams. I play USC, and I get to stay in the same offense. I was just a borderline MVP candidate in. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that would be a very obvious fit.
Last one for Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, SI.com here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, you got about 30 seconds here. Who do you think is the best free agent left tackle on the market? And should the Chiefs be on the horn with his agent as soon as possible, or should they look elsewhere?
I think Ronnie Stanley's the best left tackle, but I would do it if I'm the Chiefs. 31. He missed, I believe, 36 games over the past 5 years before this past season. I think it's a risk. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm looking at Cam Robinson. Look, Robinson's not a great player, but he's a good player. I think he's probably around $20 to $22 million a year. Probably get him close to a 3-year deal. And yes, if I'm the Chiefs, I would aggressively pursue that. But I will say this at the end of this too. That would not preclude me from going after Trey Smith. I don't care if I pour a ton of money into that offensive line. You have to have a good line. I would call up Robinson. I'd also negotiate with Smith.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You'll want to be a subscriber to his Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show. You know he's going to have great stuff from the Scouting Combine in Indianapolis this week. He joins us on the Floating Place Wine and Spirits Hotline every Monday on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, enjoy St. Elmo's and all the other things the Circle City has to offer. We'll talk next week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up this hour. 580 Sports Talk next. Our thanks again to Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated for joining us on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Heading out to Indianapolis for the scouting combine. Guys ever been to Indianapolis?
Driven through.
It's really nice downtown. It is. Very clean.
I've actually driven through a lot of times.
It's a very good event city. They've had a lot of Final Fours, Super Bowl, like the Combine's there every year now. It's a very good event city.
Is it next year when all of the NCAA basketball tournaments will be there?
Yes.
Men's and women's for D1?
I think that's right.
Yes.
I think that's correct.
That's going to be unreal.
Yeah, that's going to be super cool.
You know what would be a great idea to do in cooperation with having all the tournaments there at the same time, the Final Fours there at the same time? Make the D2 tournament a national tournament.
Yeah, that'd be a good time to start it, right?
That's the only time I'm going to do this today. I will hold it in the rest of the day.
Be a really good time to start, like a sensible.
East Coast schools are going to be playing glorified YMCA teams in the first round. Washburn's going to have a top 25 program it's got to face. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Royals and A's tied at 1, top 7. We had a texter from 785 ask when we'll have the Royals on the radio. It'll be a couple of weeks yet, but we will have a couple of Royal spring training games for you prior to the start of the regular season on March 27th. Be staying tuned, and we'll let you know when you can hear Royals baseball here on 580. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, would the Chiefs really cut Travis Kelce? Plus, what is wrong with you? And some college hoops talk. Coming up on the next hour, 580 Sports Talk.
others out there who want to sell you stem cells from who knows where. But KRMC uses only your body's own stem cells because the safest, most effective source for these smart cells is you. Live the life you love. Contact Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center in Manhattan and Kansas City. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Here's an updated forecast on 580 WIBW. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 66. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear skies again. Tonight lows level off around 34. Highs level off around 70. Tomorrow a mix of clouds and sun. Dry and much cooler Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Ray Miller in the Capital Federal Weather Center. Currently it's 66 degrees.
Stay connected with the voice of Kansas, WIBW.
Let's get it. Hour number 2 on a Monday on 580 Sports Talk. So glad you're with us on this Monday edition of the show on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And a special hello to those watching our video stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page at WIBW News. Gang's all here. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, and Spencer Dupuis coming at you on this Monday. Glad you're along. The treat for our video viewers, 2 tickets to the gun show. Got my forearms out today. Got short sleeves on. Got the dad strength is starting to come in. I noticed I'm a little bit more toned in the forearms and the biceps than I have been in some time. I'm not a weightlifter, but I do have a child in the 99th percentile of growth.
It's not because you're going to Great Life all the time?
I mean, I am more of a golfer than a weightlifter. That's a very nice segue. Maybe you're angling for that Great Life endorsement, Spencer. But no, it is mostly like that's. It took me like all of 2 weeks to figure it out. Okay, dad strength. I get it now because you're just picking the kid up, putting the kid down, picking the kid up, putting the kid down. And now I've got a kid on 99th percentile, the height and weight chart. So it takes some doing to get him up off the floor and get him out of the crib, especially now that the crib is on the lowest setting now. So it's even harder to get him out of the bed. But it's coming in. I got nice. I'm hoping it adds about 20 yards to my drive this summer when I get out and play one of the 5 great life courses across the Topeka metro area. See, that's how it's done, Spence. That's how it's done right there. So it's short sleeve weather today, and it's feeling good. Like I wouldn't say I have seasonal affective disorder or anything like that, but I'm definitely in a better mood with 60-degree weather than I was with all that 20-degree weather we had.
I have it. Yeah. I don't know. I try not to bring that to work, but I feel pretty freaking miserable from about the end of daylight savings time to now.
Jeffrey in the YouTube comments points out I'm getting ready for that arm wrestling contest. That's right. We need subscribers to the YouTube page. If you are not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, you should go do that because when we get to 800 subscribers, Brendan and I are going to arm wrestle.
How many more do we need, Dan?
70 at last check.
69.
Hey
Nice.
now. Nice.
Thank you.
You were first to that. You win that contest.
Yeah.
But we get to 800. It's arm wrestling time.
I think when we get to 780 or so, I'm going to start cutting promos.
Okay. That's what I'm going to go to. One of the 8 great workout facilities that Great Life has to offer their members across the Topeka area. And I'm going to get some curls in.
There you go. What's the move? If you're going to the weight room, you're going to hit up one of the 8 Great Life locations with a gym around the Topeka metro area. What's the go-to routine, exercise, lift?
Man, I haven't had a lift or workout routine in a very long time. Usually when I did, get a little cardio in, 20 on the treadmill or the bike. And then, just a little bit of dumbbell work, some light dumbbell work. Just make sure I'm not lifting for strength. I'm lifting for, maintenance essentially. And then really go hard on the legs, curls, leg press. I could leg press like a lot when I was
Nice.
when I was a youngster. I could leg press 450 at one time. And
My favorite thing to do is rowing. The rowing machine.
The rowing machine. I could kill your pick, but I like that one.
I could kill a rowing machine.
Calf raises. Because they're really easy and I have nice calves.
There you go.
You can do a lot of those.
Vance says cheese curls don't count, Dan. That's not nice.
I see you say you do it for maintenance. I lift or work out or whatever. I do it just for tone. I'm not trying to build any strength. I'm not really worried about that. I'm doing it literally just for the aesthetics.
Your dad's strength will set in. Like
I also have a child in the 99th percentile of weight. She is large.
Yeah, it'll set in. You'll notice it really around like 3, 4, 5 months. Because again, you're still having to ferry him everywhere, and you'll notice like my wife and I ordered a new safe for the house to put belongings, important documents in, one of those fireproof
safes. Put my
safes.
clubs in before I take them to the 5 Great Life golf courses.
No, not that big. You'd have to get like a gun safe for golf clubs.
Order for that.
But anyway, just a document safe, and it came in a cardboard box. And it's got one of those like plastic straps around it, and you lift it out.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's having all kind of trouble with it. I lifted it out with one arm like it was nothing.
There we go.
I said, "Oh, you really are getting stronger." So that's a real thing. It's a real phenomenon. We're glad you're with us here on 580 Sports Talk. Interact with us in the live YouTube chat, just like our current viewers. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and if you have not watched on the YouTube channel before, maybe give it a shot today. Jump into the live chat, interact with your fellow listeners and your hosts. And subscribe to the channel if you have not already, so you can watch Brendan and I arm wrestle. You can also text the program 785-272-9429. That will not speed up the arm wrestling match any, but it is another way to interact with us throughout the show.
We have to clean up in here a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta move the dictionary. People ask about that all the time.
People do.
Again, it's
I utilized it during the summer last year.
Yeah,
I put my laptop on it.
Yeah. That's what Jake used to do. That's why it's in here in the first place. Jake,
I don't know where the hell it was before.
No, I don't know where. I think it's in our news office, which is now a ghost town. There's no one uses that space anymore.
Yeah.
I think it was over there. I think our pal Nick Gosnell probably used this a time or two for severe weather. To describe
different ways to describe
cumulonimbus clouds,
tornadic activity.
Yeah. No, I mean it's gigantic. But if you ever wanted to know what convincium means, you can find it right here.
What does it mean? Tell us. It's our word of the day.
The offense of publicly reviling or insulting a person, especially by several acting concertedly. Convicium.
We should just have Brendan do this every day.
Open up to a random subscribers up.
Only
once a day. Let's read from the dictionary.
It's a random word.
Convicium, clamor or outcry, I suppose.
I want to find the dirty words in here.
All right. While you do that, I'll set up the hour. We're going to talk some Chiefs football. Aaron Schatz of ESPN.com suggests the Chiefs should cut Travis Kelce. We'll talk about that. Also get into what is wrong with you. Another round of what is wrong with you starts this week. That's sponsored by our guy Ryan Mowinkle, State Farm agent. And we'll talk some more college hoops. KU in action tonight, late night, 10 p.m. Central Time tip at Colorado. We'll do a bit of a preview there. We are on until 5:30 this afternoon when we'll break away for K-State women's basketball pregame coverage. Tip-off at 6 o'clock tonight at Bramlage. It is a huge game, a must-win for K-State to keep their regular season Big 12 championship hopes alive. They're a game back of both TCU and Baylor, and it's Baylor tonight that comes to Bramlage. So a monster game, 6 o'clock tip. You can hear it right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9.
They got a whole ass diagram of a sailboat in here.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a Yankee Clipper right
What's
there.
What's the fish? Top left. Which fish is that?
That fish is a where is it here? Sailor's Choice.
Great.
A porgy.
Sure.
Off the coast of the United States from Cape Cod South. Also known as the pigfish.
Oh, I thought the porgs were in that one Star Wars show.
Yeah, the little rat-looking guy.
Yeah, it looked like a rat and a corgi dog and a penguin combined.
Yeah, no, I mean this thing is nuts. I mean, there's stuff all over here. We got fish, we got birds.
I'd keep a pet porg if I could.
We've got something. St. Anthony's fire. You'd think maybe it's a fire. No, it's a type of gangrene.
All right, put the dictionary down.
When's this from?
Probably in the front of the book, not the back. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I figured.
The
I was
copyright
toward the back though.
1986.
Oh no!
Wow, you think it's as old as me, huh, Spencer?
Yeah, old ass.
Wow.
Wow, it's falling apart in the front. All right, I don't want to break it while in the air. We should also probably talk about sports. I'll find it I'll find it off of company time.
Yeah. There would be a lot of convicium if the Kansas City Chiefs made the move that Aaron Schatz suggests they make in his column. Yeah, from the weekend. That rewards the listener for your jaunt to the dictionary. The column from this weekend from Aaron Schatz projecting bold moves in free agency and the draft for all 32 teams. And the bold move for the Chiefs that Schatz suggests is cutting Travis Kelce. This is what Schatz writes. This would be a very unpopular move, but Kelce's contract is set up as an easy way for the Chiefs to gain cap space for 2025. According to roster management system, cutting Kelce would cost the Chiefs only $2.5 million in dead money, while saving them over $17 million on the salary cap. That's important with the Chiefs currently having projected negative effective cap space, which is the cap space they would have after signing at least 51 players in a projected rookie class. And while Kelce still had some important catches in the postseason, his regular season performance collapsed in 2024. Kelce ranked 38th out of 49 qualifying tight ends in receiving DVOA, and he ranked dead last among tight ends in the ESPN receiver tracking metrics. So I don't think you can separate the business sense of, well, if you cut this player who no longer produces, you save $17 million on the salary cap. Like, okay, don't name the player and tell me it's $17 million in salary savings to cut a clearly declining player. Yeah, I can walk with you on that. That player is Travis Kelce, one of the greatest Chiefs, one of the most beloved Chiefs, one of the most visible players in the NFL. You cannot separate the humanity of doing something like that from the business sense. For one, obviously, the Swifties would never forgive the Chiefs. There would be demonstrations outside of Arrowhead Stadium.
That's true. Taylor
might make a whole album about Brett Veach.
This also won't happen because last summer Travis signed this contract because of what he did. I'm pretty sure Brett Veach and Clark Hunt basically said, this is not for saving us money the last couple of years. We're honoring him by giving him a contract.
Right?
Yeah, it was a raise.
Yeah, they gave him a raise.
Originally, we thought it was a new contract, and that on top of his previous one, but instead they just tore it up and gave him a new deal. I agree, although I'm going to save my commentary on Clark Hunt. I would not put it past an NFL team to give someone a contract and then tear it up, because, I mean, they do it all the time.
Happens all the time.
All the time. I do agree with you, though, in principle, Spencer. I think he's going to play this year. I think Travis Kelce, and because I don't know, what did you say, Dan? Schatz wrote about it. What is the cap savings if you cut Kelce?
It would cost the Chiefs only $2.5 million in dead money while saving them over $17 million on the salary cap.
$17 million would be nice to have. Is Travis Kelce worth $17 million this season? If he's not elite, if he's just a useful player as opposed to being the centerpiece of your offense, is that worth $17 million?
Is the player himself and the production that he can offer in 2025 worth that much? No. No.
Okay.
Like, the numbers are even more damning. And I know I saw the playoff game against Houston just the same as you did. If Azeez Al-Shire was on two working legs, does Travis Kelce have that kind of game against a team that was already hurting big
Probably
time
not.
at the safety spot? Like, and that was the game, right? Like, DeAndre Hopkins had a big game as a Chief too. We're not talking about, oh, you have to bring him back because look at what he can still do. Like, at some point, you have to look at what a player is going to produce in 2025 and what Travis Kelce is going to give the Chiefs, even in, I think, a best case scenario, is probably not going to be worth $17 million. But it's not just what a player produces on the field. It's what they bring to the locker room. It's what they bring to your organization. And that absolutely changes the equation. The thing about the Patriots that was, I don't know if it was celebrated, but it was certainly noted over the course of their 20-year run atop the NFC, was that they were always willing to cut a player or trade a player, move on from a player a year too soon to avoid having done it a year too late. And my fear with Kelce is that 2025 is a year too late, that the Chiefs would be in a position where a big chunk of their salary cap in what should be and they're all contention years when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what should be a contention year, that's a big chunk of your salary with a guy who's maybe bottom 10 at his position among regular starters.
Probably.
I mean, I know, like, the raw numbers. You go look at the raw numbers, you say, well, what? There were only 2 tight ends who had more catches, only 2 tight ends who had more yards.
Crazy usage, though.
There were no tight ends who were as much a part of the passing game as Travis Kelce was. And look, I think that a healthy Rashee Rice, had he been healthy for a full 17 games, what we would have gotten to see from the Chiefs was sort of the succession plan and a gradual phasing out of Travis Kelce, not entirely, of course, but not as the first or second option in the passing game either. We would have gotten to see what that would have looked like. Travis Kelce in a complementary role rather than being the guy with the lion's share of the targets, which is what he ended up being.
So here it would be my follow-up question to anyone who says, yes, it should cut Kelce. And I don't think Aaron Schatz is saying they should. It is just the idea was what would be a bold move for every team. What are you using that $17 million in savings for? And that's not necessarily the best way to analyze this because, this often happens in coaching, right? Well, they fired X-coach, but the guy they replaced him with was terrible, so they never should have fired him. No, that's not really how that works. Or, well, they never should have traded this guy because the picks they got didn't turn into anyone good. Well, that's, again, not really how this works. Getting the value of draft picks or being able to reset your coach or whatever is valuable. You might screw up after the fact. Like I always point to when the Bulls fired Tom Thibodeau as this example. The Bulls were never going to be better than they were at the end under Tom Thibodeau. They had maxed out what they could do with him.
Right.
They hired Fred Hoiberg. That was a disaster. That doesn't mean that hiring Tom Thibodeau or firing Tom Thibodeau was the wrong move. So this is not maybe perfect apples to apples here. Maybe it's like green apples to red apples or something, cosmic crisps to Fiji's. But what are you doing with that money in probably the worst free agency year since free agency started in the NFL?
My thought would be keep your own guys.
That's fair.
You give Justin Reed a third deal, or that goes to your Nick Bolton extension.
It's probably your best option, frankly, is to say, all right, we can use this to get and 2 more years with Reed or Bolton, or make an offer to Trey Smith.
Yeah, improve your chances of bringing Trey Smith back. That might be
that's where I would go on that.
A worthwhile thing too, to decide, hey, we have to maintain this offensive line. We can't, after what the Super Bowl was, we can't get worse on the offensive line. So we got to keep a guy who is at worst our third best offensive lineman.
I guess I sort of view it this way. His cap hit this year, Travis Kelce, is $19.8 million. Is he a $19.8 million player right now? No, he's probably not. Is he like, when you factor in that he's going to be asked to block a little bit more, he'll catch passes, but in a reduced route tree and on fewer snaps. Is he like a $14,000 or a $14 million player or so? That's about what Dawson Knox is going to make. In fact, that's less than Dawson Knox is going to make this year. I'm willing to say, you know what? We'll keep an extra $5 million on the books for this particular guy if we're still going to get an okay return on investment for what we're spending. Normally I would not lean that way, but it's different when you're talking about icons. It's different when you're talking about guys who are still an established leader for your team, guys who are kind of the clubhouse spokesman or locker room spokesman for your team. I think the Chiefs will be this isn't quite Dayton Moore, who is willing to keep anybody who is nice to him around way past their expiration date just because. Like, this feels different. This is a Hall of Famer. This is a guy who carries weight still in that locker room. I think it's worth keeping him around. I normally wouldn't feel that way, but I think I do feel that way here.
In the YouTube comments, Vance compares it to when the Chiefs cut Tony Gonzalez. The difference was Tony Gonzalez still had some really good football left in him.
Yeah.
I don't know that Kelce's got that kind of football left in him. I don't think that he can be as productive as Gonzalez was in his Atlanta years.
No, I don't think so. I think that's been zapped a little bit. And having some lower body injuries the last 2 years have definitely, taken that a little quicker than maybe you would have expected. He's only got one more if he comes back. I mean, that's pretty obvious. The contract expires, nothing more on the books. He's only got the 1 year left. I don't know. I try not to get too emotional about these things, especially for a team that is not like my emotional team. But I think it's worth it to keep him, honestly, especially because, to be frank, we don't know what Jared Wiley is.
No, we don't.
We don't
and he's
know
coming off of a major injury.
We don't know how he can play. I think I know what Noah Gray is, but he's also never gotten more than just kind of tight end 2, really tight end 3 snaps over the course of his career. I wish he would have gotten more, but I think a transition year is fine. I wouldn't be entirely shocked, honestly, if they threw a tacked a void year onto the deal, restructured it a little bit, like moved $5 million or something to next year. Because next year, the cap's going to go up $15-20 million again next year.
Right.
$5 million dead money's not going to do anything. That I wonder if that's a consideration. Just move some to a void year.
Here's the other thing, though. Like, I don't think Kelce puts on a different uniform. Like, when we heard Travis Kelce talking, he did his podcast with his brother at the end of the season, he sounded like somebody who the decision was less about, do I think I still have it, to do I think I still want it? Does he still want to do all of the things from February to August to be ready to play a football season from September to January? And if Kelce doesn't have that in him, he's not going to play. No. And I have a hard time seeing, even if the Chiefs were to say, look, Travis, we got to move on from you. For us, this is the best decision for us to make. It gives us an opportunity to maintain more players that we consider to be core players moving forward for the long term. And we just think this is the best decision forward for us. I can't see Travis Kelce then like, oh, revenge tour time. I'm signing with the Broncos or whoever, or I'm signing with another contender, and I'm going to go put my body through the ringer again and learn a new offense and have a relationship with a new quarterback and go out and play. Like, I don't see Kelce having a year like that. Like, I don't see him doing that. I think he plays for the Chiefs or he doesn't play at all.
The other thing, too, is Travis Kelce is more valuable to the Chiefs than another team at this point.
Yes, because of the relationship with Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I mean, he has been in the same offense his entire career.
Yeah.
So I think for the purpose of what he was trying to accomplish with this piece, I think Aaron Schatz is 100% right. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Yeah. And for the record, those cap savings, if Kelce were to hang it up within the next 3 weeks, the Chiefs would still get those same cap savings.
Yeah.
So either way, yeah, if Kelce is on the team, they're going to pay him that money. And I don't know that he's going to be worth all that, but he will certainly have a value to this Chiefs team. If he doesn't play, that's $17 million in salary cap to play with.
While we're on the topic of the Chiefs really quickly, because Matt Verderame mentioned this right as we were getting out of the segment last hour, do you agree with him? Ronnie Stanley, best left tackle available, but still wouldn't do it because of the injuries?
Yes, that is exactly how I feel about Ronnie Stanley. Like, when he's on the field, like, absolutely. He's
all pro
borderline
caliber,
pro caliber. Yeah, but he just played a full season for the first time in like 5 years. Do I think he can do it again? I don't know. Guys typically don't get healthier as they enter their 30s.
Yeah.
No, they really don't.
That's not usually how that works.
I'd still pay that deal that you saw on, I think it was Friday last week
for Alaric Jackson.
For Alaric Jackson, 3 years, $48 million. I'd have that contract signed in Indy and just submit it on the first day of the league year.
Would you do that for Cam Robinson? Would you do that kind of money for him?
I would not.
No.
I do not think Cam Robinson is all that good. Also, like I said last week, that is way too many members of the early 2020s Jaguars on one roster. No, thank you.
That's true.
Yeah.
You got to quarantine those guys.
I don't need 2 linemen from those teams.
That's a fact. We are going to take a break here at 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, it's the final week of February, and we're going to start a new week of What Is Wrong With You after this on 580 WIBW. So new week on What Is Wrong With You, presented by our buddy Mo, State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. See what Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services can do for you. His website is ryanmowinkle.com. That's MOHWINKLE.com.
Last time I made a trip over to Mo Winkle headquarters over there on 29th, he and I were talking about how kids in this town have pretty much just like not had school all year since the calendar turned because of the weather.
Spencer and I are aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as folks who are, intimately either married or, in a relationship with a teacher, as y'all know. So I'm going to guess that Mo's pretty fired up that we're having good weather again, because that means, hey, my kids aren't at home. Just a guess, though. Just a guess.
Yeah.
I did not realize that's where it was until the weekend I went to go get my U-Haul. I
Drove right by?
I just happened to glance over when I was driving on 29. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Beautiful real estate.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get our story straight for what is wrong with you today. Brendan, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, so if I was involved in this story personally, I'd want to have a good insurance agent and maybe a good lawyer and maybe a good doctor on hand as well. As if air travel wasn't crazy enough these days, passengers got into a massive brawl at Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, all on video, which has been obtained by TMZ. Viral footage shows dozens of air travelers fighting in the Spirit Airlines terminal, punching and kicking their foes in the middle of the waiting area near the boarding gate.
I feel like that's on brand for Spirit Airlines.
Exactly. As we always say when we have airline stories, you fly Spirit, you get what you pay for. Fists are flying and parents are trying to heck to get their kids away from the carnage. They're writing, not mine. And the brawlers are ignoring pleas to stop the mayhem. This is the largest brawl at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson, that we are aware of today.
You ever flown through there?
Yes, one time in and out.
Couple times, yeah.
I had really very little trouble getting out of there. Flying in, it was during the pandemic. It was January of 2021. Should I have flown? Maybe not. I had a wedding to go to for one of my best friends. It happens. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm about to be patient zero for some new illness. Like it was shoulder to shoulder through the entire airport. Flying home Sunday morning though, there's like no one there.
Yeah, when I flew through there, I had was in Tampa for when Marsh played the Gasparilla Bad Boy Motors Gasparilla Bowl.
Yep.
And had an early morning flight, like a 7 a.m. flight. It was like 50 minutes. It went from Tampa to Hartsfield-Jackson.
Yep.
And then I just stayed on the plane.
Nice.
Because then it went right to DC Reagan.
Yeah, avoid the tough stuff. Yeah, so I watched the video of this fight. I mean, it's nasty.
Do we know why it broke out, or did it just people start swinging like they played Nuck If You Buck over the speakers and it's like, all right, time to fight?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, there's a woman in the first part of the video who just gets up on chairs looking like she's going to avoid the fight.
Yes.
And then she just starts stomping. And then the fight moves out of view of the one camera angle, so they have to turn, and the fight continues. I don't know, man. Like I see some Bape in here. Like there's some nice clothes getting involved here. Make sure that Bape backpack don't get torn up.
Yeah, man, that's expensive merchandise.
Yeah, I don't really understand why this was happening. I mean, it's like true world star hip hop there.
It really is. It really and truly is. One of the times I flew through Hartsfield, I had Bojangles. That's why that airport's good money with me.
No time.
My story today, gentleman walking around carrying some drugs on him, and probably just could have gone undetected if he hadn't challenged an officer to a fight and followed him around trying to escalate the situation. Bad move for 22-year-old Jesus Torres, who's been charged with assault and battery on a police officer, disorderly conduct, possession to distribute a Class A substance, and trafficking fentanyl over 10 grams.
Okay.
So an MBTA transit police officer was crossing the street from Andrew Station to a 7-Eleven on Dorchester Avenue, February 13th, around 6:46 p.m. Torres started shouting swears at the officer, walked toward the officer, and continued to verbally accost him. He followed the officer across the street, began shouting, "Do something," about a foot away from the officer's face. The officer extended his arm from Torres and told him to back up, but Torres followed the officer inside the 7-Eleven and stood about 6 inches away from him. He also shouted at him to buy him food. The cashier asked Torres multiple times to stop yelling and leave the store. While at the register, Torres poked the officer in the back and continued to challenge him to a fight. After the officer called for backup, Torres poked him on his badge, kind of a funny move, and swore again. When Torres was outside, he got into a fighting position. After a brief struggle, officers, plural, arrested Torres.
Oh, dear.
So he tried to fight multiple police officers, and they found the fentanyl on him, not in 9 small plastic bags.
If I was going to accost a police officer, A, I wouldn't. B, I wouldn't have fentanyl on me.
Yeah, definitely don't want to make the problem worse for yourself.
What do I always say? Do not commit a crime while in the process of committing another crime.
Yeah.
Words to live by on What Is Wrong With You. Who wins today?
If I had a better motive for the airline fight, I might go with that one.
I think I'm with you there.
There's just no motive. Yeah.
Like, this dude stole my Bowberry biscuit at the gate, and that's why we had to throw hands. But I don't have a motive there. It might just be random violence. This guy, really, really, really stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that one. Classic Southie, am I right?
Man, just like buy your own Slurpee and like hot dog off a roller at the 7-Eleven. Don't make a transit officer.
I could go for a Slurpee right now.
I
haven't had
it
one
is,
of those
it's
so
Slurpee
long.
weather, man. When it's short sleeve weather, it's Slurpee weather. I want to go to the range. I want to hit some golf balls, and I want to buy a Slurpee afterwards.
I love summertime, man.
Me too.
I know we're away from true summertime. It's still February.
Yeah.
But man, summertime, oof,
That's
best
our-
time of the year.
So our fool with the fentanyl, he's going to be our winner on What Is Wrong With You. Once again, sponsored by Ryan Mo Winkle. Give him a call. See what he can do for you. 785-273-1572. We're back after this. Talk some college hoops. So we continue on this Monday on 580 Sports Talk. 443 on 580 Sports Talk. The Royals no longer perfect in Cactus League play, but they remain unbeaten. A 1-1 tie, honors even after 9 innings between the Royals and the Sacramento A's this afternoon in surprise.
They should do a derby for to break a tie in spring training. Not a home run derby sometimes, but okay, we're doing a doubles derby. Got to hit him to the gaps. We're doing a strikeout derby. You get one time through the order, you got to strike out as many guys as possible. You should do something goofy like that. Send the fans home happy.
Yeah, spring training's the time to do stuff it's fun practice, right? Do some other fun stuff.
Which manager can get a hit first? That's what I want to see.
I'd be down.
Matt Quatraro against who is the A's? Mark Kotze. Mark Kotze, much better player than Quatraro. Yeah, I think it'd be the A's. Royals had 14 base runners in 9 innings. Could only bring one of them home on a Kevin Biggio solo home run in the 5th. 6 Royals pitchers combined on a 6-hitter. They allowed 11 base runners over 9 innings, only one coming in to score. 11 strikeouts. Cole Reagan started the game, 2 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts.
Seems like the downfall of their season last year. Great pitching, not time.
Yeah, we were remarking at the top of the show, in fact, exactly that, how much this game felt like a 2024 game. Can't get anybody on. Can't get anybody in when they're on base. MJ Melendez is 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. Cole Reagan's is awesome. Yeah, very 2024 vibes to the Royals game. So they are 3-0-1 now in the Cactus League. Let's talk some college hoops. K-State lost yesterday afternoon. If you missed it, congratulations. That means you didn't watch it, and you really lucked out if that's the case for you. Season low in total points for the Cats, just 54 points. They shot 33%. They were 5 of 26 from 3-point range. I don't know, honestly. I feel like K-State has good shooters of the basketball, but sometimes they just go so ice cold. Like in the Arizona game where they were 1 of 19 from 3 and 1. It's amazing how a team that I think has guys who can shoot that poorly. Is the lighting bad at Bramlage? What's going on?
Yes.
Well, it is, but I don't know if that's the reason. I don't understand how that happens. But the biggest problem for K-State yesterday was not having Coleman Hawkins, who missed the game with a knee injury. Not exactly sure what his status is for Wednesday at UCF. We talked throughout the winning streak. Once Doug McDaniel started playing well, Coleman Hawkins found his role, and everything else kind of made sense around it. You take Coleman Hawkins out of the equation, it's like taking the middle piece out of a jigsaw puzzle. Well, now nothing connects. Nothing makes sense. And part of the way that you shoot 33% is you don't get a lot of open shots. You have to work really hard for your offense because one of your 2 facilitators isn't out there on the floor. And the other of your 2 facilitators, Doug McDaniel, is stinky. He was 2 for 12 from the field last night. So all in all, a bad performance. But I don't think – I guess I'll say this. I still feel about the same, other than with regards to their at-large hopes in the NCAA tournament. Those are obviously over. That's done. We're no longer talking about that. That is not a thing that exists. They either win the Big 12 tournament or they hope they get the NIT. That's where we're at with K-State right now.
Yeah, it's really, really tough to have gone into last weekend saying, hey, 7 games left. There is a clear path. You win 5 of 7. And there are 5 games against bottom half teams in the Big 12. Yesterday was at home, man. I know Sundays are weird, but you're at home.
And I think if Hawkins plays,
they blow 3 in a row and it's over.
Yeah. And I think if Hawkins plays, they win. What I feel about K-State's ceiling as a team, what they can look like when everybody is on the floor at the same time, I still think it can be pretty good. But again, without Coleman Hawkins, you have to play Onyenso and Gasson together. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work. You can't do that.
And I think part of this is sort of why those bad losses earlier in the year are things you just can't afford, because you run into a situation where suddenly, oh man, well, we could have won if we had Coleman Hawkins. Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely, because he has gravity. He can pull guys in. It'll leave shooters more open for some of these opportunities. You can move the ball better because he's a good passer inside. All of that. Yes, true. But you don't when you lose to Liberty in the Virgin Islands or wherever the hell they were, you don't have, like, you have to live with whatever injury concerns come later. You don't get, oh, well, they didn't have Coleman Hawkins. No, like, you lost to Liberty, guys. Like, you have to win these games one way or the other. And that's the spot K-State has put itself in. Because if you take away the overall record, and you said, well, I mean, 7-9 in the Big 12 with 4 games left. I mean, you're
doable. Be in good shape if you don't trick off a home game to a terrible LSU team. Inexplicably lose to a lousy Wichita State team.
Yeah.
Lose at the buzzer in overtime to Drake. Lose by 1 possession to Liberty. Lose by 1 possession to TCU. And lose inexplicably at home to Texas Tech in a game that you had all but won. Those 6 games.
Drake might be the second best loss of that group.
Flip half those games.
Yeah.
If you flip half those games, I still think we're talking about K-State on the bubble right now. I really do. Even if you just flip half of those.
Well, yeah, if you flip half of them and 2 of them are Big 12 games, you flip them around. Even one of those is a Big 12 game.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at 16-11 with an 8-8 conference record, and you are squarely, if not on the top half of the bubble. Instead, you're done. You're out.
Yep, they got to win the Big 12 tournament. And here's the thing: if Hawkins is healthy for the Big 12 tournament, they will go into that tournament with a starting 5 that is capable of playing at a high level. Can they win? They're going to have to play all the way through the bracket. They're going to be bottom half of the of the conference, so they're going to have to play on that Tuesday. 5 games in 5 days. Can they pull it off? I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah,
like
that'd be tough.
I've seen worse teams win conference tournament.
Georgia 07?
The tornado year. Yeah, then they had tornado.
They played twice in 20 hours or whatever.
Yeah, they had to play at the Georgia Tech's gym. Yeah, the whole crazy thing. Yeah, I have seen worse teams win major conference tournaments and get in the NCAA tournament. It has happened. It can't. I won't rule it out for K-State. I really won't. That's how highly I still think of the way their starting 5 comes together. But they miss Coleman Hawkins in a big way.
They do.
KU back in action tonight. They are at Colorado, a 10 p.m. tip. It's a short turnaround from Saturday. Late game, at altitude. Colorado beat Baylor on Saturday. You a little concerned about this one if you're a Jayhawk?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of my mother-in-law is a big KU fan, but isn't like into basketball, if that makes sense. Like, she likes when KU wins, and she sent a group message, a text that asked, like, "Oh, does this change things? Like, what are KU's chances now in the tournament?" It doesn't change anything on Saturday. A, because Oklahoma State is turbo ass. Yeah. And secondly,
they shot the bejesus out of it.
How many times this year have we seen a game where KU plays better, or Rylan Griffin has a good game, or Hunter looks engaged, and all right, this might be the turning point. This might be and then they come out and they lay an egg. They're 3-7 in 10 games in their last 10 games on the road.
Yeah.
And late night at altitude, Colorado is playing at least respectable ball right now, more respectable than Oklahoma State.
There'll be a good crowd at the
they'll be fired up. I've got KU 75-72 tonight. I think KU wins, but I wouldn't pick anything stronger than that. I'm not super confident in it.
Yeah, I mean, the way they played on the road, they haven't earned
on the road.
Yeah, they haven't earned the benefit of the doubt in those late games. They are 7-point favorites according to a Prairie Man Sportsbook up in Mayetta. According to the Torvik numbers, Bart Torvik's numbers make KU a 6.8 point favorite. So right around that.
Okay.
Right around that number. Feels about right. I just think KU's got more talent, and it's the kind of game where Dickinson should feast. But
should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said that a lot about games this year for KU and Dickinson, and those things haven't happened. But yeah, we'll see. 10 o'clock tonight. Put on a pot of coffee if you're going to stay up late for that one. We'll take one final break, come back, and wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. 4:56 on 580 Sports Talk. We got one more half hour with you. I said half hour because we've got K-State women's basketball tonight here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Midi Cats taking on Baylor tonight. Massive game in the Big 12 title race. Has to be a win for K-State. They want any chance of winning the league. Torvik's analytics make K-State a 7-point favorite at home tonight.
Wow. Remind me, have you been to a game at Bramlage this year for the women?
I have not for the women, no.
No, so you were last there for the tournament last year.
That's right.
I saw them during the exhibition slate because they played Washburn. And I remember asking Laura Wessling, Ichabod's head coach, after the game, what made it tough, in the post specifically. And she goes, well, there's an All-American on the other team. I said, okay, that's fair. That is totally fair.
Yeah.
Aokali changes things quite a bit.
We'll see what kind of impact she has tonight. She is back. Yeah. She played on Saturday against Kansas.
She did come out of the game due to soreness in
they're definitely
she only played 5 minutes. Yeah.
Shout out to Topeka's own Zoe Canfield, made a nice little run for KU in that game.
One of the few positives, unfortunately, from the Jayhawk perspective. K-State win that game by 30 on Saturday.
And Samaya Nichols got banged up. Yeah, it was tough for KU. Very cool for Zoe though. Really awesome for her.
5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip from Bramlage Coliseum. K-State and Baylor in women's basketball. So we've only got a half hour left with you. We're going to fill it with some 580 Sports Talk headlines. We want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. Drop your comments in the YouTube chat as well. On 580 Sports Talk.
matter. Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Texas was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all the squeezing getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes, Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service real-time reconciliation on iOS and Mac. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Your updated forecast on 580 WIBW. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 67. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, lows dip down to about 34. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 70. Temps well above average Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Ray Miller in the Capitol Federal Weather Center. Currently, it's 66 degrees.
Stay connected online at 580WIBW.com.
Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk. Hour number 2.5 on this Monday. We are done at 5:30 today, making way for K-State basketball. So we are with you for another 20 minutes or so here on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook, WIBW News. Facebook's changing the way they do Facebook Live videos. They're not going to archive them any longer after 30 days. I don't know how that affects us.
What?
Yeah. Taking everything down. So if you ever did old Facebook Live. Yeah.
Got to make room for all the ridiculous AI images and fake. Like, I know the whole fake news, like that's a real 2016 thing. But A, it's still around. And B, like, I can't escape it. I cannot go on Facebook like, wow, America's favorite family dies in a plane crash. Click for more. And it's like, blatantly AI smooth brain slop that's just like I can't get rid of it. Every time I hit block account, a new one pops up.
I get a lot of the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce, like Travis has proposed. What's next for the couple? Like, no.
The worst algorithm is definitely Facebook's.
Yeah, or the NFL refs are stealing the game for the Chiefs. My mom believed it. She sent it to me and she goes, I can't believe they're doing this. I really want the Eagles to win now. And I'm like, it's not real.
That's why it keeps popping up. People keep believing this crap.
If you're on Facebook, you can watch us over there. WIBW News is the name of our page.
We are not AI slop.
We are not going to link you to any chumbox nonsense, and we are not going to sell you any drop shipping stuff.
No Temu ads from us.
No drop shipping.
Unless they pay us, in which case.
Yeah, no chumbox, nothing like that. Just start video every day from 3 to 6. And for the 30 days following, it'll be up there. And then I guess Facebook's going to take them down. Because, yeah, they got to make room for the $100 billion they've spent on AI. How's that investment going?
I just don't get it. Like,
to create, like, The Sims.
Every time I see Mina Kimes on Blue Sky arguing with some doofus about AI, there's always like, you can do so much. You're just limiting yourself. You could write a whole thesis. You could ask any question in the world. And Mina Kimes just says, you mean like Google? Which also doesn't work anymore.
Remember Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, I'll go Ask Jeeves now.
Ask Jeeves was out when I was in high school. Man, like the whole idea. Oh, what if you had a personalized assistant who could answer all your questions? I did, man. His name was Jeeves.
That's the crazy thing.
I have no clue what that is.
Oh, my God.
I just want to put that out there.
The people who are like, oh, my gosh, like AI is this revolutionary thing. But it's not. We've been having like smart stuff for years. What do you think Siri in your iPhone is?
Yeah.
And that at least knows how to do a Google search without telling you like rocks are the best for brushing your teeth. Terrible, man.
My man.
It's always terrible.
My guy Jeeves, he had the like the power donut haircut going on, and now it's just ask.com.
What happened to Jeeves?
We had it all and then we threw it away.
Back in the good days.
That's what I'm saying. Everything that people are saying is this great, grand innovation. Like, nah, man, been there. Ask Jeeves. I was asking Jeeves back before Spencer was aware of what Jeeves was.
And so the other night I was really bored and I could not sleep. And there's a trend going around for like, oh, what is AI? What is the Grok? The X thing
on X,
think your team's going to do this year. So I got bored and I went through, did all my teams, and I was like, what does 580 Sports Talk look like in 1 year? And it says Brendan's animated breakdowns of K-State plays go viral, while Dan's Chiefs film sessions draw older fans. Spencer's meme of the day segment keeps it light.
Yes, tape eater Dan Lucero.
If anything, it's the opposite. I'm the one tweeting about K-State basketball. You're the one eating all the football tape.
Man, I did like 3 years of tape breakdowns for our website.
Good. Part
Awesome
of the Amazon rainforest burned down so that we could have that.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
There's
Love
also
it. Follow us on Blue Sky 580 Sports Talk.
Another one I thought was funny. I screenshotted. The team capitalizes with Brendan's burner segments while downloads 20%. Dan's steady hand keeps discussions grounded, while Spencer's offbeat takes like ranking Topeka's best barbecue, build a quirky brand.
Oh yeah, that super offbeat thing that every sports talk show has done ever.
Also, it was funny because it says Brennan's latest X-Viral post about KU loss to K-State earns him a guest spot on FS1's Undisputed, raising the show's profile. And I said, that right there,
hey.
that right there, just being on FS1 and Brendan is, I had to
Yeah, you know what? Give me on Cowherd. I got some things to say to old Uncle Colin.
Get some things off your chest. Anyhow,
Jesus.
There goes. We boiled the ocean so that we could bring you an AI breakdown of 580 Sports Talk. Anyhow, we've only got but so much time left on the show today. No, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just go ahead and get into our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We want to hear from you. 785-272-9429 is the text line. Get at us in the live chat on our YouTube stream, again, at 580 Sports Talk. First headline today from the Associated Press. Poll alert. Preseason #1 Kansas falls out of AP Top 25, ending 80-week poll run. For the first time in 80 weeks, the Jayhawks are unranked. They are the third team out of this week's men's basketball Top 25. Auburn remains #1 in the country. Duke jumps back up to #2. Florida, Houston, and Tennessee round out the top 5, while Alabama, St. John's, Michigan State, Iowa State, and Texas Tech are 6 through 10. So that's 3 Big 12 teams in the top 10. After that, you have to go down to Arizona at #22 and BYU into the poll this week at #25. They're playing really well. They're starting to figure some things out.
Yeah, I think Ryan Smith has, or not Ryan Smith. What's his name?
Kevin Young.
Ryan Smith is their mega donor.
Yes.
Kevin Young starting to figure out the college game a little bit. And I was thinking about this. I don't know what their situation looks like in terms of returners or departures at the end of the year. I think Trevenell is a senior at the very least, and Demon is going to head to the NBA draft. AJ Dibansa on that roster might go like truly insane. He's a real talent, and in that style, with the kind of money they can use to either keep guys or add some more from the portal, BYU might be my sleeper team next year. And they might not even be a sleeper.
They might
be the #1 recruit in the country.
They may be a sleeper in March.
Yeah, that I think that team might be real nasty next year.
Over in the women's top 25, K-State, despite being on a 6-game winning streak, dropped 2 spots to #14 overall.
No, they lost last Monday.
Oh, then I read something wrong. Might be a 6-game winning streak in the Sunflower Series after they beat Kansas on Saturday. So
no, because they lost the second to one last year.
What the hell did I read?
Winning 6 of their last 7, maybe? I don't know.
I'm gonna go.
They did lose to West Virginia last Monday.
6 straight at home.
They did it.
Maybe at home.
What does it say here?
Because West Virginia game is on the road.
They've won 6 straight over KU at home.
Oh,
I misread the press release, and my apologies.
Let me pick these cherries here.
Yeah, I misread the press release very badly. Anyhow, K-State lost. That didn't sound right, and yet, like I very confidently read the press release and forged ahead with what I was saying, and I was wrong. Anyhow, K-State's down 2 spots. That is correct. I can verify that. They're down to number 14, the AP Women's Top 25. Texas is the new number 1. UCLA up to number 2. Notre Dame lost to North Carolina State in a thriller yesterday. They dropped 2 spots to number 3. Highest ranked Big 12 team is TCU. They hammered West Virginia yesterday in Fort Worth. They are number 10. K-State at number 14. Baylor at number 17. West Virginia at number 18. Oklahoma State number 21. Those are the Big 12 women's teams in the top 25. Next headline.
All right, next headline. First one for me today. Let's just stick with college basketball, shall we? From Matt Norlander, posted on Blue Sky earlier today. Breaking: Utah has sacked, what is this, British soccer? Has sacked Coach Craig Smith. Even sounds like a British soccer manager name, a source tells CBS Sports. Smith was hired in 2021, went 65-61. Utah is 15-12 overall this season and plays Wednesday at Arizona. This is the biggest indignity of the year for both KU and K-State, who lost in succession to Utah, and before the next week was over, the guy was fired.
They must have played really poorly against UCF yesterday.
I guess. They're weird. I don't understand this unless they have a really good replacement ready to go.
So the speculation from Norlander and others in the know in college basketball is Utah has looked to Provo and seen what BYU is doing with their coach and their style of play and their NIL commitments and the players that they're bringing into the program. You mentioned AJ Dibansa just a couple of minutes ago, and they have said, we got to keep up with them, and whatever that looks like for us, it doesn't include Craig Smith as our head coach.
I guess so. Also, I totally 100% believe that. No Utah fan would ever admit that.
No.
Not a single Utah Ute fan would ever admit the plan BYU is we need to keep up with BYU.
No, BYU is forever trying to keep up with us.
Yeah.
That's the Utah attitude.
They're going to be firing their coach next.
Of course, Utah thinks they're getting an invite to the Big Ten or the SEC any day now. So that's the average Utah fan thinks that invite from the Big 12 is coming any day.
I was talking to folks about this on Saturday. My favorite team that has joined the Big 12 in the last 2 years is BYU. I myself am not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't know if I know any Mormons personally, to be completely honest with you. But their fans, super chill, weirdly nice, and they were awesome when they came to Allen Fieldhouse. Probably helped that they beat KU at Allen Fieldhouse.
Yes.
But they were like the most pleasant visiting fans ever. Every single one, this is like a total stereotype, but it was also true. Every single unit of people at the game who were BYU fans were like 25-year-old husband, 25-year-old wife, like 3 small children. Like every single group, they were extremely polite. And then when I did my post-game video, they all said, wow, you guys got a great team. So much respect for Coach Self. I can't wait to play you guys again in a couple years at Allen Fieldhouse.
Like, yeah, y'all say that now because you won.
But, like, dang, y'all are nice. Arkansas fans were like, say a bad word about Devo Davis and I'll kill you. Whoa!
Yeah,
back up!
As far as value added, I would agree. I think BYU, there's total value added to the conference in the revenue sports.
Yeah.
Unquestionably the best addition the Big 12 has made.
We said it when they joined the league. The big thing about those 4 G5s football programs, or independent in BYU's case, that joined the league, the big thing was all of them had a commitment to winning and want to be part of the upper echelon. UCF, they will spend big time on football. Maybe basketball will get there someday. We know Cincinnati has that buy-in. Houston's got tons of cash, and BYU has cash and want to because they want to be better than Utah.
Yes.
they want that badly.
The whole reason they went independent football in the first place, they had their eye on, we can be Mormon Notre Dame.
Yes.
Like, that was the whole thing, right? For BYU.
Worked.
I mean, to an extent.
To a lesser degree, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for what they've done with their program. Say what you will about the university. They've got their own foibles. I understand that. Not the arena for that right here. They are my favorite of the 8 new teams.
By far. Yeah.
7 in Colorado anyway.
Yeah. I'm glad they're in the league.
But yeah, this is weird. I don't understand this.
Next headline, Spencer.
Yes, from Pro Football Talk. One NFL team has proposed banning the tush push, and
we know the team.
That's according to the headline.
And just our luck, we have an owner of that team available to speak on
comment right here.
Green Bay Packers owner Brendan Dworzinski. Can you comment on the fact that it is your Packers who have tried to get the tush push ban?
Per Diana Rossini of The Athletic.
Yes.
So, as an owner of this franchise for several years now, I have put my full faith behind team president Mark Murphy, who himself played in the NFL for Washington back in the 1970s, has been with the Green Bay Packers for decades, has given his entire adult life to service of the NFL and to the Green Bay Packers. And on his way out of the league, he is being forced to retire. The Packers have a retirement forced age of 70. It's literally better run than the U.S. government. You have to retire at 70 years old. His last final thing he is doing on his way out the door is saying, I don't like this play and I want to get rid of it. Spencer, I think it is very nice, frankly, of Mark Murphy to do you a favor on his way out the door. Yeah. You as a tush push hater yourself.
I was really expecting it to be coming from the Commanders, to be quite frank with you.
To be honest with you, I was too.
Especially, just that whole sequence.
So I do not personally agree with President Mark Murphy. However, I respect him as a football lifer and support him sharing his opinion on the matter. I, however, do not agree with it.
According to the article on Pro Football Talk, if the proposal does proceed to a vote of the league's owners, there would need to be 24 votes in favor of banning it in order for the change to be adopted.
I don't think there are 24 votes for that.
I don't either.
3/4 majority.
You know what the funny thing about this
we know the Eagles are voting, though.
The Packers in the last 3 seasons, in the 3 games they've played against the Eagles, they're I believe the only team that has stopped it multiple times. The Packers have actually been good. They actually know what to do on defense. Now, the Packers themselves can't run it. Jordan Love just kind of falls down every time. It's very funny. So we started snapping it to tight end Tucker Kraft instead. It's very funny. But Kenny Clark's best trait is stopping the tush push. He's very good at it. So I don't really understand why Mark Murphy doesn't like it at all.
I can't believe I'm going to say these words in this order coming out of my mouth, but I agree with Albert Breer. I know.
Ohio State superfan Dan Lucero.
I have to give myself a moment to compose myself after saying such a thing. But I think Albert Breer is right. It'd be one thing if this play were all 32 teams were using it and it was a free first down.
Yes.
To the point where it was as automatic as the extra point had become. And the league looked at the extra point and said, this is too easy. This is, we need to do something to make this a little tougher.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one thing. There's one team doing this, and they do it extremely well. But it's one team.
Yeah,
you're making a rule because one team has mastered something. Get back to me when 29 teams are running this for first downs on every single 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. I think
it hasn't broken the game. It's just one team. One team has 5 340-pounders on their offensive line. That's the difference. Yeah. Draft fat guys. That's how you stop it. Draft fatties.
One final headline. This broke during the show today from the Associated Press. Cleveland Guardians owner Lawrence Dolan dies at 94.
Oh.
He had owned Cleveland's Major League Baseball team since 2000, died of natural causes. Bought the team for $320. The Guardians have won 7 American League Central titles, 9 postseason appearances, and, of course, won the 2016 pennant during Dolan's ownership of the team. His son is the chairman and CEO who has taken over as the team's primary control person, and will likely remain so. Of course, Dolan's nephew, James, owns the Knicks, Rangers, and Madison Square Garden. So a lot of money in that family. We will see if that impacts how the Guardians might like to operate moving forward, if they'll operate like a real Major League Baseball team who wants to spend money and win more AL Central titles, because they've clearly got something figured out when it comes to developing pitching, which is the ultimate currency of being a baseball organization. If they wanted to flex a little financial muscle, they could rule the American League Central, and really should. And we'll see if anything changes moving forward with the patriarch having passed away, Lawrence Dolan, the owner of the Cleveland Guardians, dead at We'll take a break, come back, wrap up the show with a final word after this. Final word time on 580 Sports Talk as we make way early for K-State women's basketball. Got to go quick. Brendan.
Final word for me is that I'm hopeful tonight for KU, but I don't think Saturday's game changed anything. That to me was more about, KU got hot, but Oklahoma State stinks. Hoping for the best tonight, though. Maybe I'll start to feel better if KU wins.
Spencer, final word.
Yes, I agree with Brendan. Got to get the pot of coffee ready for tonight, and hopefully they can come out with the win.
Final word for me. Jac Caglianone is going to hit some strong home run slams, maybe in the Cactus League, certainly in a Royals uniform someday, but don't rush the youngster. Don't rush the possibility of greatness. Even Bobby Witt Jr. needed some time to incubate in the minor leagues. Cags may not need as much because, of course, he had the experience in the SEC at Florida, but don't start leaning on a young guy to be the savior of a Royals offense that, frankly, could use a hitter with his kind of profile and his kind of in-game raw power. Give it time. Let it cook. He and Bobby Witt Jr. are going to be a fun combo in that lineup eventually. That'll be it for us today. K-State women's basketball coming up next. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.